What's up, YouTube? Robert the Coroner Drapp here. I bring you yet another episode of Trash TV Thursday. For those of you who are just joining us, Trash TV Thursday is where I go over some of the worst TV on the air right now, and even maybe some of yesteryear. Now, that is to say, these shows don't have a whole lot in the way of good value, but hey, they're entertaining to watch, at the very least. So, without further ado, let's launch into today's episode about the kings of trash TV. Now, there's about five of them that I would say really embody the king of trash TV. And while they're all guys, I haven't really watched a lot of these in years, but I suppose that there are many women you could possibly consider as part of the trash TV culture and having shaped it. One that really springs to mind really quick is that Wendy chick, and possibly Tyra Banks. I mean, their shows aren't really that good, but some people find them entertaining. Not yours truly, but there are people that do. I could have included Steve Harvey in this list that I made, but I mean, he does movies, he does comedy stand-up, he does Family Feud. So really, that just doesn't, for me, seem like he necessarily doesn't focus on trying to make quality when and where he can. So I'm not gonna put him on this list, although he may end up, or Family Feud at least, may end up on on my next episode, trashy game shows. So, and even if his talk show ain't all that great, I don't need it to be. I mean, he puts out a lot of content, so why would it matter? But to get to those names on the list who have made what I believe trash TV, and they are the kings of trash TV. Let's start with Jerry Springer. I mean, Jerry Springer's kind of a classic. He's what I'd like to call the godfather of trash TV. He started the whole thing by having, just random, lewd, messed up, crazy people on a show, and having just wacky titles for every segment. Not gonna lie and say he didn't kind of inform my creative process in as much as having Jerry Springer's tendencies to name every segment made me kind of go, well, that's clever. So, there's always fist fights on Jerry Springer, and that's another point on to why I believe he's one of the kings, because everybody likes to watch two people get into it. And I don't know if he still does it, if he's still on the air, but he used to attempt to try and enlighten the world with his final thought. And it was at least kind of interesting to see him, he brings these people on to talk to each other, nothing really gets resolved, and then at the end he's like, well, this is what you have to do to fix these kind of things. So, speaking of somebody who doesn't fix anything, really. Maury Povich. Uh, every show that he does now, because I used to watch this on kind of a I'm bored regular basis, and I called it the Baby Daddy Show because it was always a paternity test show, and what I always found rather interesting was that that whoever would show up would always say, "Oh, that ain't my baby. He don't look nothing like me. She's a hoe. She's always sleeping around. That ain't my child. Look at him. He don't even look like me." And then at the end, "You are the father," or "You are not the father." And whoever, got kind of stuck with that kind of thing would inevitably just break down, And I always thought that was kind of ridiculous, but what's worse is when you get the first result, even though you're pretty sure if you've got kind of that logical connection thing, especially watching episodes previous, you can kind of guess what was like who is and who isn't. So that was always interesting. Speaking of interesting for differing reasons, Dr. Phil. I mean, Dr. Phil was interesting because he was famous for whatever reason because of Oprah. Don't know why. But got his own show because I guess he'd gone on Oprah enough times that she was like, to hell with it. Let's make a show on this. And he doesn't really solve problems that are all that difficult to solve. It's like family counseling most of the time. That's obvious shit. And I feel like his southern drawl that he has makes him sound almost makes him sound very down to earth and smart, but not quite, And I've always found that that's kind of an emblematic problem of being Southern. I mean, I don't have that. I don't have it as bad, or I don't have it as pronounced normally, but it's definitely there, and you can definitely tell whenever you really, or when I really let it go. But I mean, I don't think you can sound smart as a Southerner. It's hard, but it can be done. And he definitely tries. The next guy on the list is kind of weird. I don't know if his show is still around, but this takes more for another person getting famous off somebody else, and that's Steve Wilkos. Steve Wilkos was a bouncer on Jerry Springer. That was his claim to fame. That he was one of the head bouncers on Jerry Springer, and when somebody would go out there to start a fist fight, the stage crew would jump on there, and the security guys would jump up there and stop the fight. So, but Steve's shows are very, very, very much about abuse and infidelity. So there are times you can tell he would beat the fuck out of you If you are just scum, he absolutely would fight you, and he's not a small guy. But he now kind of looks like Michael Chiklis from, or the guy who played, oh god, what was it? Hank from Breaking Bad. I don't remember what Hank's last name was, but that's a thing. And then last but not least, Jeremy Kyle. Now, admittedly, he's probably the one I watched the least of. Him and Dr. Phil kind of on the same level for me as far as if I had to pick one of these to watch, which one would I voluntarily sit through? He'd be very low on the list, if not last. Very much in the same vein as Jerry Springer, but a lot cleaner in that I didn't see a ton of fighting. I didn't see a ton of people be like, oh, let me show you my boobs or whatever. It's usually family drama that's on there. So it's a very low-key, cleaner version, but not much cleaner than Jerry Springer. And again, like I said, I haven't watched these in years, and I don't think I'd voluntarily sit through Jeremy Kyle, so not great. But then again, it could be a lot worse. So thank you very much for watching. This has been Trash TV Thursdays with your host, Rob, the Coroner Drapp. Please like, comment, subscribe, the bell, all those fun things for me. And I will see you all tomorrow.